Hi, are you having trouble figuring out your annual goals? I was too. And then I did something I have never done before. Stick around to find out if it worked. Hello, this is Katie from Crafting Ruby Dreams, and welcome to my channel where I talk about planners, goal setting, writing, publishing, and getting right with my finances. Today, I am going to be talking about my annual goals for 2022 and the process that I went through to figure them out. The system that I'm using for my annual goals for 2022 is the MäksēLife companion notebook system. So this is the booklet with all of the instructions for setting goals as well as where to place your annual goals. So I'm going to be referring to this through the course of the video. The companion notebook system comes with this particular pamphlet with the instructions on how to set goals and to go through the annual goal setting process. It also comes with 4 quarterly notebooks. This is the purple one. There's 3 other colors for you to use each quarter, and I will be going through how I'm using each of these individual books in an upcoming video. The annual goals process for me was harder than I expected it to be. I was actually really looking forward to setting my annual goals and figuring out where I wanted to go for 2022. One of the things I had started thinking about early on was my word of the year, which I will be sharing a little later. That kind of was getting me into the frame of mind that I needed to be in, but I was still having some issues. So something that I've been thinking about with regards to the spiritual and personal growth area of life is how I use tarot in my life, because I do read tarot cards for myself and have been doing this off and on for the last 25 years. And over the last couple of years, there are 2 particular decks that I have really gravitated toward and found a lot of meaning in. And the first is the True Black Tarot, and the second is the Spacious Tarot, which I have really gravitated to over this last year and a half. As I was thinking about this, I then had the thought of why not create my own spread to help me figure out possible themes for each area of life and how to get into my annual goals a different way. And it was really interesting. The development of the spread, I had a lot of ideas, so I was able to get an initial draft done and then put out a call to the MäksēLife community on Facebook for anyone who is a tarot user and had been using MäksēLife for preferably the last year at least, and was able to get some help from Rebecca and Lynn and also offers from a few other people later on in the day. And I am really, really happy with this spread that I developed, and a few people have reached out to me after I shared it saying that they also have found it useful. So I have made it available outside of the Facebook group, and it is available totally for free. It's in a Google Drive that you should have access to through the link down in the description. So I hope you find it interesting and useful if you are a tarot user and are looking for a way to get into some of your goals for the MäksēLife system. So once I figured out the spread, I decided to do the draw on the solstice, which was December 21st. And it was really interesting for me and very meaningful. And the Spacious Tarot is a deck that really feels like it's in tune to me, and I feel like it shares the messages and connects with my intuition. So I enjoyed doing the spread. I did not do the interpretation of the spread that same night just because I had a lot of stuff going on. I had enough time to do the spread, but not necessarily enough time to do a full out analysis of what the spread was speaking to me about. So I documented the spread with a photograph, and then once Christmas was over, I spent a good chunk of time on the 26th going through the spread and teasing out what are the themes of the card, because for the Spacious Tarot, the guidebook lists themes for each card. So I looked at the themes, and then I went through my thoughts on each card and what it meant for that particular position in the spread, and then what it specifically meant for my goals for 2022, and then my overall thoughts. So there was just a lot of stuff that I really wanted to think about, but I found this particular process to be really, really useful in helping me coalesce some thoughts that have been kind of like winging around in my brain over the last couple of months, because I had a lot of stuff happen in 2021. I had a lot of work in the personal growth area of life, that between therapy, between doing continued strengths coaching with my coaching group and doing ClubMäksē 1.0, there was just a lot of stuff for me to process. And because of the work I had done in ClubMäksē 1.0, I was able to really take a lot of what I was seeing in this tarot spread and immediately connect it to how I wanted it to play out in my annual goals. Once I was done processing the tarot spread, the next thing I did was refer back to some exercises that we had done in ClubMäksē 1.0. Most specifically, for those of you who are also in it, the best self exercise that Sierra walked us through in July was just, that had such an impact on me. And basically what it does is you take each area of life and you imagine yourself as your best self, and what does it look like? What does your best self look like for that area of life? What I took the extra step of doing back in July was that I broke down those components in each area of life, and then I assigned a number in terms of, I think I can accomplish this in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years. And is this particular goal of mine a stretch goal, or is it something that's progress or maintenance? So I categorized each one to be a combination of a year and a goal level. So this is what it kind of like ended up looking like for me. And as you can see, it's like it has little meaning for you, but it has a lot of meaning for me. But I found this so useful because it helped me figure out, what is it that I put as my best self back in July? Is this something that I still want to work on achieving? And if so, do I need to take that into account with the coming year? And does that also play in to what my theme for 2022 is? And it was just kind of like, okay, it got the ball rolling. And then once I processed that on top of doing the tarot spread, then I worked through all of the exercises in this annual goals booklet. And it made it so much easier for me. I was able to quickly answer these. I was able to quickly distill things that I wanted to do. So it was a really good process for me at this point in my life to work through all of that. What I ended up coming up with for my 2022 word of the year is stabilize. For a while, I was thinking it might be fundamentals, which is not an active verb, but was something that I really was encountering for a while. It was the point of a conversation I had with my one nephew, and the fact that it played into, I am working on mastering the fundamentals of my writing life again. Just writing in the first place, getting into a routine, not necessarily a habit of writing every day, because I already know that does not work for me. And it is not something that I think would be healthy for me even now after burnout. I think it would actually be even worse than it was the first time I attempted to do a write every single day. It was not pretty. But I'm working on those fundamentals. And so I kind of started playing with that. And then another word that kept popping up related to that is foundation. And it's just like, yeah, I'm really trying to build the foundation and all this. But as I was doing the tarot spread, what I realized was I have already built that foundation. I've got a foundation that's there, that I'm proud of, that I'm happy with, but I need to stabilize that foundation. I need to have it cure and set up and be ready for me to start building that next phase. So this is a slow process. I've done a lot of work in 2021 to create a very solid foundation for myself, but the foundation isn't fully ready for me to build on. But I need to stabilize it. So I need to continue to do a lot of the work that I did in 2021 and not just move on to the next step. I need to practice what I have learned and put into very specific steps of, okay, so here's what I'm going to try and focus on. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to go back and figure out what the next possible step is. So it's not just rushing off and trying to do the next thing. As much as I would love to, that's not the point that I'm at. So stabilize is my word of the year because I really want to spend this next year making sure that I am ready to really, truly bounce up to the next level. I did some very, very serious bouncing. That's the word I keep coming back to. With 2021, I did a lot of work that compounded, and I saw exponential effects of growth for myself, and to the point that others have noticed it and commented on that to me. So I want to take all of that really good, positive progress and make sure that it is truly stable so that I can move to that next level and be confident when I move to that next level that I'm not standing on shaky ground. So stabilize is my word of the year for 2022. Once I figured out my word of the year and did all of that prep work, I was ready to move on to creating my goals. Some of these may seem fairly simple, but I've created them in order to support that idea of I am stabilizing my foundations. So for the personal area of life, I have 3 goals. The focus for this area of life is refilling the well. The first goal is to take myself out for a spa treatment of some kind at least 3 times in 2022. The reason for this is that I really want to both reward myself and acknowledge myself as an individual human person who really deserves some nice things. Now, this could be as simple as just a manicure or pedicure. It might be a massage. It might be something like a float treatment, depending on what my budget is. But I want to go out and have someone pamper me just once a quarter. As simple as that. And I'm only shooting for 3 quarters, partially because who knows when I'll feel comfortable going back out for these kinds of things. And so I figured 3 times for the year, that was a reasonable goal with the uncertainty of what things are right now. So I'm hoping that I can really do this because I think this is something that will just be good for me. The next goal is to read 30 fiction books. I honestly don't know what my reading total is for 2021 because while I have been tracking it, I can easily go look it up. I just did not do that before this video or before writing this goal. The reason I chose 30 was because I have had some very significant progress with reading over the last few months, particularly since about August. So I did not want to push things too far, and I think I can make 30 in a year if I run into reading droughts again. I used to be a 100+ book reader for a year, and so I'm just trying to incrementally get myself back up to even half of what I used to. So I'm kind of like long range goal, getting back up to 60. So I figured 30 was a reasonable amount for me to shoot for over the course of this next year. The third goal is to redevelop my knitting hobby, and I figure the way I can do this is shooting for working on 2 projects during 2022. This is not even completing them, just working on them. That being said, there's one that I need to specifically finish in a specific time frame because one of my extended family members is expecting a baby any day as I film this. And so I won't be seeing them until probably February. So I have until February to knit the blanket. This is something that I have done before. I know what my reasonable speed in getting this done is. So this is a good push, but I figure if I can at least work on 2 projects, that will get me back into the habit that I've truly missed because I haven't knitted at all in 2021 that I can remember. And that is really disappointing to me. Fun and recreation. I also have 3 goals for this area of life. My focus for this area of life is to reconnect with myself and the communities that I choose to be a part of. My first goal is that I really want to take at least 1 week of vacation where the intention is to rest and relax. This past year, so much of my leave time was spent dealing with my move in some way that I was totally exhausted and pretty much at a breaking point in November. It was not pretty. It was so incredibly frustrating, and I was not in a good space. This week that I'm at my parents' between Christmas and New Year's, I'm taking things really slow, really easy, and I am feeling the positive effect of this, and I'm like, I have to do something like this again every year from now on. So I'm just trying to make it a priority that I do this week of where I do very little. It's just to rest and relax and rejuvenate myself. The second goal I have is to attend a Polycon or another romance-related conference. For those who are not in the romance community, a Polycon is a reader-focused author event that is run by Jennifer L. Armentrout and is local to me in DC. It is actually already sold out. I do have tickets for it. Right now it's scheduled for the end of July, and definitely hoping that it will be able to be put on in person, but I'm also prepared for it to not be, but I'm really looking forward to it. I am missing my romance community. I'm missing my friends who are authors. I'm missing my friends who are readers. It's something that I have greatly missed over the last 1.5 to 2 years. So this is a big goal for me. Then my third goal is to create quarterly brunch opportunities. This is with a very specific group of friends, so this could have also fallen into family and relationships, but since the focus was the fun aspect, that's why I put in this particular area of life. Work and learning. The focus for this, I actually did say build on the foundation, but I'm also trying to do it in a way that is very easy and puts pressure on myself without over-pressurizing myself, if that makes any sense. Big goal is to write 1 complete novel for publication. And we'll see. I'm giving myself the entire year, and it is something that I think I can do, but I am also working on ways to get myself, just like I did for my annual goals, different ways to get in that I haven't done before. And so I'm really looking forward to this next quarter, especially with using the HB90 system and the way I've set up my goals for that. My second goal is to either attend a writing-related conference or register for a 2023 writing-related conference as a writer as opposed to being a librarian or a reader. And so I am hopeful that there might be an opportunity for me to attend a conference in 2022, whether in person or virtually. I'm not sure yet, but if that doesn't happen in 2022, I'm okay with that. If I can at least register for a 2023 conference towards the end of the year, I will be a very happy camper and I will have met this goal. My third goal for this area of life is to grow the Crafting Ruby Dreams community by at least double here on YouTube as well as on Instagram. So I hope you will join me and subscribe here or join me over on Instagram. For family and relationships, the focus for that is deepening connections. And I only chose 2 particular goals for this because this is an area of life that Not to say that I don't need to put work into it, but I am comfortable and confident enough in the relationships that I have that I want to spend time nurturing those, but I don't feel the need with everything else going on that I need to make this particular area of life a priority. So only 2 goals, and one fairly easy is to make a family-driven trip to Chicago at some point this year. The second goal is to spend at least 1 weekend a month connecting with family and or close friends. For the health and wellness area of life, my focus is stabilizing the physical and mental foundation of me. So the big goal for this area of life is to get evaluated for ADHD. And I will be going to my GP and asking for a referral to a psychiatrist and to be evaluated. And I want to, if necessary, obtain the care for that condition. But again, I may not be ADHD. We will see. This is a big step. So yeah, that's where I'm at. My next goal is to maintain my routine healthcare appointments. This can be a big thing for a lot of people, and I have actually been in a good routine, and so this really is a maintenance goal for me, but I've got some potentially big tests coming up this year, so it's going to be fun. And then my third goal is to develop a sustainable exercise routine. If any of my goals are going to be labeled stretch goals, this is probably one. But to me, this is also a progress goal for where I see myself in my best self. I want to have a routine exercise regimen, and I just need to start baby steps on getting that going. For the spiritual and personal growth area of life, my focus is to stabilize the soul foundation. My big goal is very much a maintenance goal, but it is something that I need to put a lot of work into, and that is to maintain the personal development that I've achieved in 2021 by continuing the work that I've done in my strengths coaching, ClubMäksē, and therapy. My second goal ties into how I went about figuring out my annual goals, and that is to explore the use and meaning of tarot in my life. My third goal is to develop a routine of journaling and affirmations in order to support my personal growth journey. The financial area of life, the one area of life that I have probably most consistently struggled with throughout my adult life. Focus for that is to strengthen my financial life. To go about achieving that, my first goal is to reduce my debt load by half by the end of this year. My second goal is to work with a person that my family works with in order to develop a sustainable financial plan. This is something that I found interesting because I've known this person for a very long time, and their previous work, they were only able to work with people who resided in the place that they were licensed in. The current work that they do, they can consult with anyone, no matter where they live, to develop financial planning. So I am really looking forward to being able to work with this person. Again, I had a brief interaction with them back when I still lived in Illinois. And now that I can work with them again, that I live in DC, this is a big thing for me in this coming year. This third goal is probably also a stretch goal in that I don't know if I'm going to be able to achieve it, but I'm definitely going to try, and that's to increase my savings of readily available cash by $5,000. For the physical environment area of life, the focus for me, and this is another focus statement that I was having trouble formulating, and I finally came up with, and that is creating space for future opportunities. This may be a shocker to many of you who watch my videos for planning and goal setting, but I want to reduce my office and planning supply collection by half. I know it's a lot, but I kind of need the space. The next thing I want to do is to categorize and reorganize both my book and yarn collections. The third goal for this area of life is to renew my current lease for no more than $1,950 per month. It's something that I think I can achieve, but it's also something that I'm not going to be able to work on at all until towards the end of this year. So this is more of a Q4 goal, since there isn't really anything that I can do for it beforehand. Okay, those are my annual goals for 2022, and I have some thoughts about this process. Overall, I really enjoyed the process. It took me a bit of time. I was trying to not rush myself, but at the same time, I was also feeling the pressure of the new year coming, mainly so I could get this video filmed and up for you all to see. I want to emphasize that if you have not set annual goals for yourself for 2022, don't feel the pressure to do that if it is not something that works for you. It is not right for everybody at every stage of their life. Up until the last couple of years, I didn't really do goals. I would do resolutions and immediately toss them. I am one who does planning and will toss the plans that I make in favor of something else that catches my attention, that seems more feasible and a better route to go. Annual goals, yes, I have them. I am going to try to follow them. And I'm going to be doing a video for next week about how I did with my 2021 goals. I just left that planner in DC, so I can't film it right now. But I am really looking forward to these goals because they're in line with what I want to be doing. And they're not quite the stretch for me that this past year has been. Like, I don't even remember specific goals for 2021 other than write a novel. That was a goal. I do remember that. And I will talk more about that in the next video. If goals like this are not where you are at in this phase of your life, don't worry about them. Don't force yourself into them, because if you force yourself into them, they're not going to be as meaningful for you, and it's not going to be something that excites you and gets you energized to do them. You're going to be feeling, well, I had to come up with these. And that's not fun. So if you aren't feeling the need for annual goals or goals in general, as my friend Mari of Mari Plans a List on Instagram said in a story that she did a few days ago, just because you don't have written down goals doesn't mean you don't have goals. So take Mari's advice. Don't force yourself into doing a whole goal setup if it's not right for you. What didn't I like about this process? I decided to pretty much skip out on the vision board this year. I saw a lot of people both in the MäksēLife Facebook group and on Instagram who were sharing some really fabulous, incredible spreads. Some people were talking about choosing inspirational quotes that had been illustrated that really energized them. Other people have photos and things that they want to evoke the feelings of how they want to feel at the end of this coming year. Vision boards and I don't necessarily get along. I absolutely see the value in them for other people. I want them to work for me, but right now I haven't found a way into them that really truly connects with my brain. So I'm kind of skipping it for now. It's not kind of like Mari said with goals, just because I don't have a written down vision does not mean I don't have a vision for myself. I do. I am just having trouble translating that onto a vision board. So take all of that with a grain of salt for yourself, because you have to figure out what works for you. Me sharing my process will hopefully give you some ideas of some things that you might be interested in trying. And if it does excite you, I wish the best for you. But this is not a prescriptive or proscriptive way of doing things. This is just my way of doing things. If you have figured out an annual goal for yourself, please share that in the comments, as I would love to hear about that and cheer you on in the coming year. If you're unsure and maybe want to workshop some ideas, again, if it's what works for you and is what is right for you at this point in time, drop those in the comments too. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I wish the best for you in 2022. I hope the new year is safe, healthy, and happy for you and your loved ones. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you all, and so thankful for all of you to be part of the growing community of Crafting Ruby Dreams. And may all your dreams be Ruby Dreams. Bye-bye.